Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Chinese President Xi Jinping have met in Beijing as part of efforts to shore up relations between the two countries. Xi told Blinken that China and the US should be partners, not rivals, and avoid engaging in vicious competition. Earlier, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi cautioned Blinken against stepping on China's red lines. The China-US relationship is beginning to stabilize, but is still being tested by negative factors, he added. Blinken, on his second visit to China in less than a year, said Beijing and Washington have a shared responsibility to move ties forward with active diplomacy.
There's no substitute, in our judgment, for face-to-face diplomacy in order to try to move forward, but also to make sure that we're as clear as possible about the areas where we have differences, at the very least, to avoid misunderstandings, to avoid miscalculations. That really is a shared responsibility that we have, not only for our own people, but for people around the world, given the impact that the relationship between our countries has around the world.
The China-US relationship is beginning to stabilize. Across the areas, our two sides have increased dialogue, cooperation, and the positive side of the relationship. This is welcomed by our two peoples and the international community. But at the same time, the negative factors in the relationship is still increasing and building. And the relationship is facing all kinds of disruptions.
Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming. It was short notice and...
Hollywood actress Ashley Judd says the overturning of disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction is a hard day for survivors. "We live in our truth," Ms. Judd said. The case against Weinstein was a landmark moment in the #MeToo movement. The New York Court of Appeals ordered a new trial, saying the original had been prejudiced by witnesses with claims unrelated to the charges at hand. Mr. Weinstein has maintained his innocence.
Today is a day, like every day in American women's lives, when male sexual violence has intruded and disrupted our lives. There I am, planning to get my backcountry camping site reservations in Yellowstone National Park, for which I'm very excited. And I get the news from Jodi Kantor of the New York Times that 4 judges at New York's court have voted to overturn Harvey Weinstein's sexual crimes conviction. This is what it's like to be a woman in America, living with male entitlement to our bodies.
A leading California university has cancelled its graduation ceremony as protests over Gaza continue to spread on college campuses across the US. The University of Southern California in Los Angeles cited new safety measures in disbanding the event. Hundreds of people have been arrested on dozens of campuses where protests and encampments have sprung up in support of Palestinians in Gaza. Universities have brought in police to force students to leave. TikTok's Chinese parent company says it has no intention of selling the business after the US passed a law to force it to sell the hugely popular video app or be banned in America. ByteDance doesn't have any plans to sell TikTok, the company posted on its official social media account. Earlier this week, TikTok said it would challenge in court what it called the unconstitutional law. Former home and away star Orpheus Pledger has been arrested after a 3-day police manhunt in Australia. Mr. Pledger is facing 4 charges for allegedly assaulting a woman, with disturbing footage of him released, dragging her to the floor. He had been granted bail on Monday to undergo a court-ordered medical assessment. And paleontologists from Argentina have announced the discovery of a new medium-sized herbivorous dinosaur, which was a fast runner and lived nearly 90 million years ago in present-day Patagonia. The animal, named Chakisaurus neckel, was found in the Pueblo Blanco Natural Reserve in the southern province of Rio Negro, an area rich in fossils where many mammals, turtles and fish have been found along with other species of dinosaur. It is estimated that the largest Chakisaurus reached 2.5 or 3 meters long and was 70 meters high. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.